The UK government obviously is planning to change how settlement works in the UK, the conditions and, the time is going to take. They're talking 10 to 15 years now. And the parliament have just stepped in over new settlement rules, and what they are saying could change everything for migrants. So stay tuned. Let's go straight into the details of this video. It's one that you want to watch. My name is Tochi. You're welcome to my channel. Please like this video, give it a thumbs up as you're watching, so YouTube can recommend it to more people. Kindly share it to everyone that needs to see or hear this, because it's very, very important. To all my returning subscribers, you guys are welcome back to today's video. If you're yet to subscribe to my channel, kindly click on the subscribe button. It's very free, it's easy. I honestly don't know why you haven't subscribed yet. So guys, we're looking at the report from the UK Parliament that was just published and their recommendations to the government regarding the proposed 10 to 15 years ILR rule. What they are saying about it affecting dependents, people that are over 18 years, what care workers could do in the process. Basically, they're just telling government, if you're going to make this 10 to 15 years, this is the implication regarding the consultation from people, from migrants, that is going to affect, and this is what we are recommending. We're saying this is what you can do to make the process very easy. It's a long read, right? I tried to go through it, read it, internalize it to understand it better, so I can give a better review or summary of it. But at the same time, I'm still going to share my screen so that we can all go through it together. So here is it, End Settlements, examining the government's proposed reforms. So this is a House of Commons Committee report with recommendations to the government. I try to establish that the government is particularly concerned about the number of people doing the low-skilled jobs, right? Particularly healthcare workers, those in the health and adult care. So they are also worried about the fact that they're going to now be eligible for social housing, receiving benefits after getting settled and all of that, okay, which obviously we have heard them say over and over again. And they've also recognized the challenge the government is trying to respond to and its intention to promote contribution through its changes, because the government is establishing that everyone now has to earn the right to be in the UK, or the right to be settled. It has to be earned. It's no longer going to be automatic. Oh, the fact that you have stayed 5 years, you can now get it. No, there are some new conditions that you now have to meet before you can get settlement. So these are everything the government is proposing. These are their plans and what they plan to achieve. But the bone of contention here, however, is that it's going to affect those already in the UK, those that moved in the UK from 2022, considering that, the number is very high. There are over 600 and something thousand care workers. They are dependent that the government did not really make provisions for or consider when they were giving these visas and everything. Being in the UK for the number of years you're supposed to qualify for ILR is no longer enough. You have to now meet other conditions, including salary requirements, how you're contributing, whether you're volunteering, and all of that. So they're saying this is to encourage migrants to contribute economically, even though they understand that some people might not be able to meet some of these requirements. So this is why they're warning the government that they should consider these people as well. So it's important that there are reasonable exemptions. These changes will affect hundreds of thousands of care workers and their dependents, and could have major consequences for the adult and social care sector. The Home Office mismanagement of the health and care worker visa between 2022 and 2024 meant that far more care workers and their dependents came to the UK than the Home Office anticipated. So they are actually acknowledging or establishing the fact that the Home Office mismanaged this care route. When they start talking about the numbers, the numbers are high, they try to blame it on migrants. But at the same time, we forget to understand that it's the Home Office that granted these visas. Care workers, migrant care workers and their dependents didn't just appear into the UK. They went through due process, applied for visas. It was approved by the Home Office. So Home Office had the numbers, had the records, but they just kept giving visas and everything. So yes, we know that, of course, there's a limit to how many people you can bring into your country to work and everything. But at the same time, understand and accept the fact that it was partially your fault as well. So I'm glad that the Parliament actually understood that. So care workers, especially those with children, are more likely to qualify for in-work benefits once they have settled than other immigrants. So these are what they're considering. As care workers is generally low paid, and therefore could present a cost to the public purse. So delaying settlement for this group is therefore likely to provide short-term direct fiscal savings for the government, but risk increasing exploitation and poverty for these workers. Imagine working as a care worker for a particular employer for 15 whole years. So that's why they're establishing that it could risk exploitation. We're already seeing the exploitation that so many people are going through in their workplaces. So imagine now enduring that or having to do that for 15 whole years, so it's just going to be a lot. And this is what they are also laying on the table for the government to see. So they're recommending that if these workers are going to be on a long visa route for a long time, why not explore flexible visa options that allow workers to move between employers to reduce the risk of exploitation? It's the risk of being on a COS. You have to keep looking for COS. Oh, we're not sponsoring. Oh, yes, we can give you a job, but we don't have COS. You know how that can be so frustrating, just depending on COS, and now having to deal with one employer. No matter what you're going through, you just have to endure and bear it for 15 whole years. It's going to be very difficult, So they're saying government to just try and make sure or put something in place for people to be able to move employers easily within this time frame. So the government should also set out clearly how it will support decent pay and conditions for immigrants working in adult social care. At least increase people's working condition, make it bearable, and let the pay be decent as well. So it is currently unclear how these changes will apply to children as well. So they also try to look at how it will affect children, right? Especially those who turn 18 before their parents achieve settlement. If you're going to make parents to stay longer, then consider children who are going to turn 18 before their parents get settlement. What's going to happen to them? So they're recommending that government should ensure or put things in place to make sure that these children in this category who have lived in the UK for a long time can also get settled before they turn 18. So children who arrive at a later stage, such as those in their mid-teens, should have clear, realistic and accessible pathways to settlement and do not inhibit them from beginning their adult lives. So they've also talked about receiving evidence, how this could increase poverty. When they did a consultation, they brought out consultation for people to bring in their feedbacks. I think I made that video here as well. When the UK Parliament and the Home Affairs Committee were calling on migrants to put in their feedbacks and their consultation and everything, say how this would affect them and all of that. So a lot of migrants responded, and they're saying that they've received evidence that this will increase child poverty, especially among the children of care workers and children in families on the current 10-year family or private life route to settlement. So the government will need to understand and mitigate any increase in child poverty. So they established the fact that they have received a high volume of representations from immigrants already in the UK. So that is why it's very important whenever calls like this come up, we shouldn't just keep quiet, because they also want to hear how it will affect you. They want to hear from you firsthand, because sometimes they really don't understand how it's going to affect migrants, because you are the one wearing the shoes. So if you don't tell them, they might not know. So it's very important that whenever they make calls like this for us to talk, let us all talk. So that it is from everything that migrants have said that they're now making this report and this recommendation to the government. And they're saying, even though the government wants to make it 10 to 15 years, this is how you can make it to consider people as well. So they're just recommending this based on the feedback that migrants have given. So yes, it is of public interest, responding to recent high rates of immigration and the potential direct physical impact of a large number of people in lower paid roles gaining settled status and eligibility for settlement, right? But the government needs to carefully also consider and set out clear mitigations, including suitable transitional arrangements for people already in the UK who are affected by the changes. Okay, so we just have to consider everybody who is going to be involved or affected in this. So the Home Office have said that these changes will begin to be implemented from April 2026, but has not given a clear timeline of when particular changes will be implemented. Though recently, the Home Secretary said they plan for it to start by autumn of 2026. So let's just keep watching and just see how it's going to unfold. So they're also advising that the Home Office should learn from previous reforms that it is more important to get changes right than to implement them quickly. So it's not about coming to say, oh, we're going to start in April, it must happen. They should also put everything they're supposed to put in place to get it right, because things might go wrong really quickly if they try to implement it quickly. So that's why they should take their time to make sure they get everything right. They consider all transitional arrangements. They put children into consideration. They put care workers into consideration to avoid exploitation. How are they going to even make this work? Try to make the differentiate between people that are earning well, people that are contributing, people that are volunteering, and then now tell you, oh, okay, you are due to apply in 5 years. No, you're due to in 7 years. All of that. So it's just going to be a lot. So that's why they are saying the Home Office should consider all of that and make sure they put everything in place before they can now implement it. That is if they're going to implement it, to affect those already in the UK. So this is the overview of the eligibility periods. The standard baseline is now going to be 10 years. Then baseline for medium skilled visa holders is going to be 15 years. And then baseline for refugees granted asylum is now going to be 20 years. Now, the mandatory minimum requirements for ILR. You must first meet the stability requirements, such as not having a criminal conviction. Then you have no outstanding government debts, including tax or debt to the NHS, and then you must speak English at level B2 level under a common European framework of reference for language, and you must pass the Life in the UK test, which has always been like that, and then you must have annual earnings above £12,570 for a minimum of 3 to 5 years, subject to consultation or an alternative amount of income. So you must be earning something before you get settlement in the UK, and this is the minimum that you have to be earning. So now these are the considerations that will reduce the baseline qualifying period. Only the largest applicable reduction applies. Now you must speak English at level C1 and a taxable income of 125,140 for 3 years immediately prior to applying for settlement. You must earn a taxable income of £125,140 for 3 years immediately prior to applying for settlement, minus 7 years. Then earn a taxable income of £50,270 for 3 years. You can get minus 5 years, and then been employed in a specific public service occupation for 5 years in a highly skilled RQF 6 role, minus 5 years, and then worked in the community, example by volunteering, minus 3 to 5 years, and then is in the UK on a family visa as the parent, partner, child of a British citizen and meets core family requirement, minus 5 years, and is in the UK on the Hong Kong British National Overseas route, minus 5 years. So this is 10 years, the baseline of 10 years minus 5 years if you meet these other requirements. So these are also the consideration where they will increase the baseline for you if you do any of these. If you have been in receipt of public funds for less than 12 months plus 5 years, arrived in the UK illegally plus 20 years, enter the UK on a visit visa plus up to 20 years, overstay the visa for 6 months or more plus up to 20 years. This is very, very explanatory. Like, it is so clear, explanatory, that if you read it, you're likely going to understand it, where the government is coming from, what immigrants are saying, how it's going to affect and impact migrants, and then what their recommendations are. So this is what the government is hoping to achieve, the breakdown of everything, why the government is making this proposal, the overall impact of those changes is going to have, which we already summarized earlier. But this is like a more detailed breakdown of everything. If you still want to read it to get the details, to understand how everything works, feel free to read it up. It's online, it's public information, is accessible, so you can just easily go read it up and access everything for yourself. So guys, this is it. I want to hear what you guys think about this in the comment section. So thank you everyone for watching. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.